What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be doing another tier list in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. So before we get onto it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to, well, we don't necessarily have a sub goal, trying 300k by the end of the year, which would be crazy, but again, 250 is still a crazy number. But if you guys do enjoy my team content and enjoy this video and just want to learn about the mode, subscribe. We have more my team content here than anywhere else. If you guys are going to be learning, if you guys do want to learn about the mode, this is the best place for that. So anyway, now let's get on to the list. So we are going to start off here with making sure that the list looks okay. There we go. We'll start with Kyle Anderson. So Kyle Anderson evoed D tier. He was great, man. He was great for his time. He really was great for his time. Like, his shooting is nice. Like, Lopez base pro 3 behind the back. The guy was ahead of his time. He was really ahead of his time. Problem was that, like, being ahead of your time on the 12th of February doesn't really mean much now. Alexei Pokusevski is a tough one because we're looking at like A or B on current gen, but man, as I'm putting him on S tier, he is God. Like, he is God disguised as Alexei Pokusevski on next gen. I'm telling you, the guy is ridiculous. The guy is absolutely ridiculous, lads. He's someone that I think can compete with the best of the best when it comes to something like compete with the best and best when I think it comes to cards on next gen. On current gen, I mean, I wouldn't be the highest on this card. His release is a bit iffy. His release is a bit iffy on next gen, but no, I like him. I like him. So I'm gonna put him into S tier. AKS. Maybe move down. He might get moved down. But if we're talking current gen, next gen, he's a great cone. It doesn't matter what gen you're talking about. And his price, at one stage he was down like 30k, which was just, that was just ridiculous. Like, there's ridiculously like dumb prices that you see sometimes on cards that are during market crashes, and that was one of them. It was just one of those ones where you're just like, how is it that cheap? How is this card this cheap? But yeah, so now we got Antoine Jameson. Chicken Man B tier. It'll be an interesting one with him because I'm gonna put him B tier because the dude doesn't miss. Like, I know a lot of people aren't that high on this card anymore. He still doesn't miss on next gen, and like, you have to just say, like, give him some props for the fact that he is one of still the, like, I'm trying to think of who I'm more confident shooting a wide open shot with in this game. Kukoc? Now, Kukoc and Ferry are more off the dribble. I'm not sure there's a player in the game. Luka, probably. Because he's got half range with the same release. Right, there are not many players in this game that I would be more confident shooting a wide open with than James. So he's gone B tier. Billy Cunningham, B tier as well. Cunningham's just small. Like, he's 6'6". He's basically 6'6" Blake Griffin. And that is, like, I know a lot of people are very high on Billy Cunningham. And like, it's understandable. Like, it's honestly understandable why people are high on that card. But I mean, he's not one of the best exchange awards we've had, so I'm gonna put him there. Blake S. Blake, really good player. His release is good. His player build is wide. I will say that he's awful in my opinion on next gen. And I don't mean awful by like you can't use him. I mean, he is awful for what he is on next gen, which is a dark matter card that's a couple of 100k MT. Like, he plays like a 65k MT player on next gen. But on current gen, he's really good. One thing again that is it just me, or do skinnier players move way better on next gen? Like, skinnier players it's like 2K17 all over again. Do you remember the Slenderman build players on 2K18? And those two games where the Slenderman build players just literally just got every good animation. That's the way skinny players are like in the game this year. Like the Mo Bambas of the world, the Pokashevskis. Whereas Blake is like the broadest player build in the game. It's like him and Zion and Shaq. Like, yeah, they can play a bit of bully ball, but they don't move like you want them to move. But because of the fact that he's so good on current gen, and you could argue he's close enough to being in the best team on current gen, I'm going to put him in S. Bobby Jones. I'm not as high on him as most people. I don't like base 4. He's really good, though. Man, I thought he was going to change the exchange. I thought that after that card was released in the exchange with none of the stupid original owner card, with none of the original owner card things needed, I genuinely thought we were going to see Bobby Jones in, or cards like Bobby Jones in the exchange, but no, we saw Louis Dampier. You need 7 Dark Galaxy Opals to get a Dark Matter 6 with top point guard. So that's the route 2K are going down, ruining the exchange again. But yeah, Bobby Jones was, I thought he was going to be like a season defining card because I thought he was going to be the start of good exchanges. And you never know, he might be the start of like the mid-season exchanges, which are good, but I'm not that confident. A tier, Boris Diaw. Diaw is so good. He's so underrated as well. Like base, he's got Gallo base, which is one of the best releases in the game. He's got the Pro 3 behind the back. He's got like all the best SIGs as well. He can curry. He's 6'8" with a wide player build if you are on current gen, and not the greatest build next gen, but again, he gets Pro 3 behind the back, which is better than Blake's. He gets that curry slide, which is good. I'm pretty sure Blake is Pro 2. He's just too heavy to do the curry slide in either gen, which is funny. 2K keep giving Pro 2 to guys that like literally can't do Pro dribble SIGs, which is one of the dumbest things they can do, but it is what it is. 2K, I'm pretty confident that a lot of devs don't play their own game and don't really know their own game, which is why they're doing it. But yeah, Diaw, A tier. Skal, E. He's not good. Like just for his performance in my run my final 250k run, I can't put him worthless. If you guys don't know, with an hour to go, I was like 11th in the world in the 250k quals. I was 11th with an hour to go, and I came up against Vardo, who ended up qualifying for the thing, for the tournament. But I started Scalabrini. I was just running like a meme team. I started Scalabrini. I started Bonga in my team. It was a legitimate meme team. And Skal carried. Skal won. There was one game I won by 1 point, and Skal scored 14 in the fourth quarter. Just for that reason, he's in E tier. Mello. I'm going to move these. Yeah, Melo's B. He's not terrible. Like, I wouldn't be the highest on the card. But for me anyway, I think that Carmelo Anthony, without doubt, belongs here in B tier. Then we got Chris Bosh. S tier. You can play at the power forward, you can play at the center. I would advise you to play him at power forward. He's better on next gen than current gen. But for me, he would definitely be a power forward. That's the position, if you're asking me where I would play Chris Bosh, it would be at the 4. He's a big power forward who can shoot the ball quite well, really well, and can move quite well. So again, I think he does a lot of things very well in game. But yeah, he is S. I'm going to move Jameson down and Melo down, maybe? And him down? Because again, I rate them all similar, but I do think Gallo's a little bit better than the Jameson. And if Gallo's a little bit better than Jameson, then like I can't really like, I don't know. Like, I can't really say that these guys belong in a tier lower if Gallo's better, and I don't think Gallo's as good as Diaw. Numero uno, S. No, absolute no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer right here. We've got S tier. I don't know why I'm calling him numero uno. He's not the best player in the game on next gen. He just simply put is not the best player on current gen. He's just not the best player. I like him on current gen. He's not the best player with Danny Ferry, and he's no longer. And Kukoc is better than him on next, but he's a lot better than Kukoc on current. The Busher, B. If you fully badge up the Busher is really good. Like, it's not the cheapest thing in the world to badge. Like, you need to give him range and stuff. But, like, I know a lot of people did give the Busher range at the time. And he was actually he was a very, very good card. He came out, like, 2 months ago. He came out during Spotlight Sims. Which was 2 months ago at this stage. Hopefully next week we see Spotlight Sims. Then we have got Derek Jones Jr. B or C? C? He's a little bit undersized. You could argue him in B. But he is a 6'6" power forward. His release is good. He can curry. He can move a little bit better. But I don't think he's quite as good a shooter as... especially on next... he's not as good a shooter as James in general. And on next gen, I do not personally believe he is as good as... Carmelo Anthony. And he's not as good as Bobby. He's kind of Bobby Jones, similar level. Draymond, B. Like, I like Draymond. I don't think he's as good. He's the best player in B tier by quite a bit, but he'd also, in my opinion, be the worst player in A tier. And I know there are some people that would argue Draymond over Diao. I don't think it's particularly close. I think Diao's a lot better. Like, I know a lot of people aren't as high on Diao now. We can't forget most people did call him the best. Most people were saying about Boris Diaw that he was the single best small forward in the game when he came out. Or, sorry, not small forward. Pink Diamond in the game when he came out. So for me, I think it's a no-brainer. A no-brainer that Draymond is, albeit high B tier, but B tier. Giannis, B. If you like Giannis, you're gonna put him in B. If you dislike Giannis, you would use Jameson over him. And that's just the simple truth of it. Like, I personally, just the way I play the game, I'm not good enough with this Giannis to green on current gen, and I don't really like him on next. I don't know what it is with Giannis. Like, I loved Giannis at the start on next gen. I really did. Like, it's a really weird one. Like, I really liked his diamond. Then I started using Giannis a little more on next gen. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's just something about just what I need from my players. His defense isn't as big of a factor on next gen. Because the ability to playing lanes doesn't really... Obviously, if you're an elite at playing lanes and you can read the game, you're going to be fine. But it's not as important for a card to be able to play lanes. So his, like, biggest strength is, like, it's not that it's no longer a good thing in the game. Like, he's still really good. His biggest strength is kind of, like, gone a little bit out of, like, importance. Like, it's nowhere near the most important thing in the game, what Giannis does well, where it is the most important thing on current gen with Showtime and stuff. But, yeah, we've got him in B tier. Tatum. I mean, you gotta put both Tatums in the same tier because they're the same card. Are they both S though? Because I know you could definitely argue that. I think it's dumb to argue Tatum's in different tiers because the only difference is that one of the Tatums is half Showtime, the other one is gold Showtime. And you might, like, you could make that argument a couple of days ago. But now when half Showtime's in the literal, like, in the token market for 150 tokens. Actually, 150 tokens is quite a bit, to be honest. But, like, yeah, for me, they're the same card. They are the same card. I'm going to move you down, and I'm moving both. I'll move Tatum's up. I'll move the Tatum's up to S tier. Jeff Green, D. Like, Jeff Green versus Kyle Anderson. Give me Kyle Anderson, probably. Apparently, Jeff Green's good on current gen, but his release on next gen, man, I tried using it a little bit. I was trying to, again, like, I just tried out these cards because I remember Ty went mad when I put him low on a tier list. I definitely put him too low, but I mean, he's not great on next gen. He's good on current though. Jerry Lucas. Jerry Lucas has everything except one thing. The problem is, dude chucks the ball up from his chest. If you can get used to his chest pass jumper, then this dude right here is no question an S tier card. Problem is that that's an if. There is no guarantee that you are going to get used to his chest pass jump shot. And if you can't get used to his chest pass jumper, then you're not going to hit a shot with him. It was the exact same thing with Jerry Lucas last year. He actually had a base 98 card. And a lot of people were a lot of people hated him, me included, because it all depends on where you look for your shot. I know a lot of people that look at the legs for their shot, for their timing. Because again, like, a lot of timing is visual cues. As much as, like, people don't like to admit it, because it is just how long you hold the button. A lot of it is visual cues. And It all depends on where you look. If you look at his feet, if you look at someone's feet when they shoot a jump shot, he's S tier. If you look at someone's hands when they shoot a jump shot, he is not going to be good. So I'm going to put him in A tier. Have I used the card? No, but I know the release. I'm telling you, I know the release. If you cannot get used to the chest path, try Joakim Noah is a prime example. If you cannot get used to Joakim Noah's upper, it's the same upper, you are going to very much struggle with this guy. Then we had Joe Smith. I think Joe Smith's A. Like, I really like that release. Again, it's one of those ones. His upper is not good, but it's not quite as bad as Jerry Lucas. He does everything. If you're on current gen, I don't know about him. If you're on next, he does everything. He's super quick release. He's got, obviously, Curry. Dude, 6'10", can play small forward. For me, he's A. Jonathan Isaac, S. This is a very, very, very weirdly structured tier list. We need to get some bad players in. We need to get some bad players in right here. Alright, let's get the lowest rated players in. Otherwise, we might have to restructure this whole thing. I think all these cards are half decent. I didn't put any like useless players on the list. So worthless tier is going to be renamed to F tier. You go down, and used to go down. And you go down. You go down. Used to go down. And you two go down? My opinion. Tatum's can go up if you want, but yeah, that's the way I'm gonna stick it. Let's get these low tier guys in though. Yesterday, I would probably have put him in F tier. I'm gonna put you in E tier. I think you belong in E tier, to be honest. Are there any other F tier players? Any other absolute garbage men on this list? Not really. So I'm going to move Skal to E tier and just call this the none tier. Because I don't want to put any of these guys. I just want to keep these guys in other tiers because I think Skal is definitely comparable to like the guys in this other tier. And I don't want Skal to be on a tier by himself. And I do think he is Derek Jones Jr. is better than these guys. So in the tier one above them, I'm going to put this guy right here. I'm going to put this guy right here. I'm going to put Thad Young. And I'm going to put Tobias Harris. No, Tobias Harris is better than Melo on next gen. And they're both garbage men on current gen. Are we going to have to move? Did we put Melo and Jameson way too early in this list? Are we going to have to move Melo and Jameson down? Are we going to look like this now? Has Jameson gone all the way from B tier to D tier? I think he has. I think he just has. That's pretty bad by me. Kermit, B tier. And you're going down. Now, yeah. Now it's starting to look a little bit better. Kermit is going into B tier right here. Kermit, the only problem with Kermit is that he's a little bit undersized. I'll say not he's a little bit undersized. He has a low 3 ball. He's not undersized at all. He's got great length. Dude's got a massive... I'm pretty confident he's got a 7'11" or close to it wingspan. Like, he's very much his preference between him and Giannis, but Kermit can hold range. Then we have Kevin Durant, A. You could argue him S. You definitely could argue Kevin Durant S. But... because he's just the way he moves on next gen. Again, like, he had shifty dribble style early in the game when we didn't even know what shifty dribble style was. The way he was bursting, the way he was moving around the floor. But he was like the original. You know the way we use Bol and Pokashevsky now? Just the way they're these really tall players on next gen that like move super fast because they're tall. KD was the original one of them. Problem is, the release a little bit inconsistent and his release only on quick and not very quick. Kevin Garnett, A. I much prefer Chris Bosh to Kevin Garnett. The more I've used both of them, the more I will tell you I will take Chris Bosh every day over KG. I don't even mind KG's release. I just think Bosh is better. It's not by a significant amount, but I do think that right now, like you could argue, like Bobby Jones, I think is closer to Kevin Garnett than Bosh is. Bosch might get moved down. Bosch might get moved down. Kuz, A. I really like Kuzma. And Kuzma over Bosch is a genuine question that an opinion that a lot of people will have. And I understand it. I don't necessarily agree, but I'm going to stick with Kuz in A tier. Lamar Odom. At this stage in the game, he's C tier. But man, he had his time. For his time, he was good, man. For his time, he was great. Not only good, he was great for his time. At the start of Season 5, a lot of people ran him in 250. He was great. LaMelo. B tier. Definitely B tier. I'm a massive fan of this LaMelo. If you were to ask me who I would rather have running my offense, LaMelo Ball or anyone in A tier not named Kyle Kuzma or Jason Tatum. Actually, heck, if you were saying to run your offense, anyone in A tier not named Kyle Kuzma. Because I'm, by the way, everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Kuzma. I would take LaMelo Ball. The problem is that not everything is about running your offense, and he's a little bit undersized at 6'7". Although he's a better defender and interior defender and rebounder than people give him credit for. LaMelo, they juiced up LaMelo Ball stats. I'm telling you, if you put these stats and made his primary position point guard instead of power forward, yeah, this guy would have been would be if they could make a diamond point guard with all these stats that could be a 94 overall, he would be the best cheap point guard in the game right now, and not even close. Then we got Larry. I mean, I don't think you can argue Larry any higher than B tier. Like, some people do swear by Larry. Like, I know RCA swears by Larry, but again, RCA is the way he plays the game. His players just need to hit a wide open shot. Like, if his players, like, he does not need to dribble with any of his players the way he plays the game, and Larry cannot dribble. But yeah, he is B tier. He's really solid though if you don't need to dribble with him. Larry Johnson. I'm just gonna put him into the don't try get. Because I'm telling you right now, if you are not in the 97th percentile of this game, if you are not confident, if you did not believe, say a season ago, if you were winning less than 95% of your games prior to skill-based matchmaking, so for example, like if you in like February and in like January, February, we're only averaging like 80% win rate, you're not going 12-0. I'm telling you, you're not going 12-0. No matter how good you are not going 12-0 this season. Because skill-based matchmaking is a thing. So we've got our Larry Johnson, and don't even bother getting him. You are wasting. If you want to play unlimited, and to play 5v5, that's how you enjoy the game, and you're thinking, okay, I want to maybe get the reward from it. You know what? I can't tell you to stop doing that. If that's what you enjoy doing. But I know a lot of people for unlimited don't enjoy the mode, and they literally just play to grind for the card. And if you are one of those people, yeah, just stick with limited. Baylor's way better. LeBron, C. LeBron's alright. Good animations. His release is pretty decent on next gen. It's bad on current gen. And again, the one thing I will always say about this LeBron is that a lot of people, when they talk about this LeBron, they either are looking at it with nostalgia goggles from how good he was for his time, or they completely juiced up their LeBron and put like 20 extra Hall of Fame badges on him, which I know a lot of people did. A lot of people put a lot of Hall of Fame badges on LeBron James, on different versions of LeBron James. So they obviously have a warped perception of how good LeBron James was. But Maxi Kleber, D, but it's a reluctant D. I love this Maxi Kleber card. It's not his time anymore though. Like even the Mo Bamba we got yesterday. There are so many sub 15k cards that are way better than him. He was great. He was fantastic, might I add. Like, he was the best. He was the best for what he was. He was not just good, he was the best cheap center in the game for quite a while. Problem is that time moves on, and he's D tier now. Then we have got Obi Toppin. C, but that's not bad. Like Obi Toppin, I think, has got a really good release. He's got decent defense. He dunks the ball well. He's just, in my opinion, not quite as good in terms of all-around game as like a Larry Bird. He can't create like a LaMelo Ball. He can't defend like a Giannis or a Kermit. He's not as overall good. He can't like dribble like Boris Diaw and Joe Smith. Yes, you could argue him over Draymond, but I think Draymond is slightly better. Very, very slightly. Might I add, like, I think Draymond is very slightly better. But I'm going to put Obi Toppin in C. Then we got OG Anunoby, B. He's like worse Paul George. His release, I mean, it's fast. Like, I really liked his release when the card first came out. Because there were not that many like very quick release players in the game at that stage. The problem is that it's like the first couple of cards in the game with very quick with quick releases. Everyone was like super high on them, but as it just became normal, some of the bad releases are still bad, and it's all right. It's just there was a little bit of hype on the very quick at the time. PG, A, no brainer. Absolute no brainer there. He's A tier. So before we get onto it, let's just throw on some lower tier players. Sidney Wicks, 1 tier below Giannis. Even though he can get range, and some people might prefer Sidney Wicks, but I'm gonna put Sidney Wicks in C tier. In my opinion, he's just worse Kermit Washington. Then we're gonna put him in E tier. Again, I don't mind Sean Kemp, but is Sean Kemp? Nah, let's put Sean Kemp in D. Then we have got Rashard Lewis. B. With the update, you could argue him in A. Prior to the update, he was C or D. And with the update, he's B or A. I'm gonna say A, actually. You know what? I'll put him a tier higher. I'll put the guy a tier higher. I will put the guy into A tier right here. I actually think 2K did a great job updating him because, man, he sucked. But, who else is in some of these lower tiers? Rudy Tomjanovic, C. He was really good when he came out, though. Zion's A. B. Richard Duma, B. I think Richard Duma is as good as this Zion, by the way. But let's put, like, they're all very similar cards. They're both all kind of undersized power forwards / centers. So let's just put them in their tiers. Okay, these 5 are all really, really good cards. Rocco, he's just a little bit too small to put into A tier. Rocco's going B tier, but he's not bad. He still gets some decent animations. He's just, like, B tier is not bad at all. Like, C tier and lower, I probably wouldn't use, but the B tier cards, these cards are all pretty good. So these last 5 are either A or S tier. And I go Millsap, A. A, but he's low A. Like, he's as good as Zion. He's better than these guys in B by a little bit, but not by much. So I'm gonna put Millsap in A. Play decent defense. He's an all-around good card. You two are going into S. Chris Bosh is coming down to A. And we got Poku for next gen only. Blake for current gen only. So these guys right here. So I'm going to pick a 5. I'm going to pick my main 5. And I think Thon, actually Kukoc is only next gen. Oh, this is a really tough one because these guys, it's like, I think both of these guys belong in A. Rui Hachimura and Rudy, they're very, very similar cards. And these two and Kuzma are almost identical cards. But it's such a tough one because, like, if I'm talking current gen, he's down. And where's Tatum? He's up. Like, if we're talking about our current gen 5, it's these 5 right here. If we're talking about our next gen 5, it is you go down, you go down, you go up, and you go up. Like, that's our best 5 on next gen. And then Isaac is debatable on current gen, but this is no brainer the best 5 power forwards on next gen. Primary power forwards on next gen. Oh, it's a really tough one because again, I play next gen. So let me just put Blake, and you know what? Tatum will be on it for current gen. Like, I prefer Tatum on current gen over Rudy, and I prefer Tatum over Kuzma, but it's very, very close. So, and even though I do think both of these Tatums are like the exact same card, half showtime matters a lot on current gen. So, yeah, it costs 150 tokens, but it does matter quite a lot. Although on next gen, I think they're literally the same card. You will not notice the difference. So, yeah, we have got 7 players up here. We have got, in terms of current gen made, we've got Tony Kukoc, or in terms of current gen made, we got Blake and we got Jason Tatum. In terms of next gen made, we got Kukoc, we got Alexei Pokusevski. Then I think Isaac, Ferry, and Thon, I think most people would agree that they are probably the 3 best. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.